Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monday Show with me, Scary, your grateful host. This is a show I do on Patreon for all of you on Mondays. It's a Q&A, it's like a podcast. I get to talk about things that matter to me in the hobby this week. In the past week, we're back, of course, from holidays. I did one last week, which was to like the whole world, but today we're back to our nice and elite ones for all of us here hanging out. Thank you, Steve the Mountain, for sending me a big fantasy base for either a dragon or Cetra. I'm probably going to use it for Cetra. We'll see. I've got a old world event that I'm getting ready for on the 3rd of February, which I think is going to be super fun. Hey, Nick, what's going on? Hi, Alex. How you doing? I've also got my Team Canada game coming up in like half an hour or so. So I've got this. I've got Team Canada game. Then I'm essentially getting ready to go down to Mini Wargaming for a couple of days. Going to be filming there for a couple of days. Then I come back and I've got two days of coaching calls, and I've got a weekend. And then not this weekend, but next weekend is the Montreal team tournament, which I am super pumped for, like extremely excited about. I cannot wait. I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope all of you are excited. I think, is it this weekend that is LVO? So LVO is coming up. It's going to be pretty spicy and exciting. And I'm curious to see how it all sort of like pans out, because there's a lot of stuff. Like LVO is one of those things where it just gets crazy. You know what I mean? Like it just gets crazy. It gets nuts. And if you're not careful, it'll swallow you whole. For some reason, the I hope my 13% drop frames. Hopefully it's not too bad. For some reason the signal's like really shitty right now. Kill team news. Nice. Well, I guess they're going to be doing the, what is it called? They're going to be doing the thing. I didn't save it to that. Well, hello everyone. It's a live stream. Totally didn't put it on public. I put it on public, so yeah, everybody can watch today. Normally this is just for patrons, but hello everyone who isn't. Marcus says, hey man, twice in a week I made you live stream. That's awesome, Marcus. Thanks for coming to hang out. New data slate soon. I know, I'm very curious to see what they do with that. As a Dark Eldar player main, I'm excited. I don't think they could do anything that would make me sad, basically. Teaser looked vaguely Drukhari shaped. Well, we'll see. It's the kill team stuff. Everybody's token mandrakes. I have no idea what it is. I rarely get super excited about rumors because I want to see the tangible thing in front of me and be like, oh, now I know what it is. I used to do all the wish listing stuff when I was like young and restless. No longer young and restless. Okay. So the Monday show, of course, is a time for you to ask questions, and I answer your questions and give you my answers. And then it can be about anything, gaming or whatnot. I talk to you a little bit about what's happened to me within the next little, like the last little bit in hobby. I had a game today. I filmed another battle report. So last week I filmed 2 battle reports back to back, and then I went to Mini Wargaming for 3 days and worked there. Today I filmed a Crusade battle report with John. It's awesome. We revamped our Crusade lists from that we did like during 9th edition, and Games Workshop actually released this like page. It was like, hey, you can take your old Crusade stuff and just bring it over into the new edition. And so, of course, Necrons have their codex, so they have a bunch of Crusade stuff. I just have the basic Leviathan book, right, with the Tyrannic War stuff. And so, like, I got to, like, revamp my Crusade and kind of did it, and we played a Crusade game. And I enjoy playing those games with John because it's like, we're still rather competitive and when it comes to the game in general. But there's, like, this rivalry that develops over a Crusade game, which is, like, more, I don't know, there's, like, a lot of weight to every interaction where, like, his Overlord and my Archon fight each other, but it's like, it's been building up over like 20 games of them fighting each other over and over and over, and there's like that rivalry built in. But then you get cool stuff where like they gain upgrades and stuff, and they get cooler and get nice cool relics and things. So it's been very fun. So Funk Wheel says, wouldn't be surprised if Drukhari good units get nerfed for being allied in Eldar. Yeah, well, we'll see. They already did that already. They did that already with the Ravagers, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again. So let's dive into the Patron questions. Foz says, "Hi, Scary." Hello, Foz. How was your birthday? My birthday was great. I spent 5 hours at the arcade with my kid, and it was great fun. I basically did like 4 different sessions on the Dance Dance Revolution, which is like my favorite thing to do at the arcade. Just brings me back when I was in high school and we had a student lounge with like a Dance Dance Revolution, and I was very bad back then. But now I'm like I feel like I'm a lot better. I'm getting it. It's very fun. So, any cool gifts worth noting? Yes, yes. My brothers got me a gimbal. It was very nice of them to think of my content creation. Either that or they were watching my videos and just getting constantly like seasick, and they were like, "We should get him a gimbal." So I'm very curious. As soon as I have my hands on that, it might mean that my videos might become a lot more like steady and not as shaky. So my production value might go up. Yeah, so why not? That'll be fun. Now that you and John are back crusading, yeah, will the Tabletop Forge be hosting any narrative events in 2024? Well, Falls, that is a fantastic question and a great idea. I'll have to look into it. I wouldn't mind helping run a cool narrative event. I've been to the Grand Narrative, so I have an understanding of kind of like how that would work. Like we did the big Apocalypse game a couple of weeks ago, and that's like a big narrative event. That was very fun. But something a little bit more planned might be very good too. But that's a great question. But keep posted. Like if anything happens, like my year is going to be pretty crazy busy with like the WTC, like competitive 40K. So anything I can get outside of that will be great. But like my focus is really to like help Canada podium this year. Whether I'm on the traveling team or not, we don't know yet. I'm on the team, but they're going to pick the top 8 from the 16 or the 8 players from the 16 that'll go and travel to the team event. I'm going to the singles regardless. I'll be in Belgium. I'll see you all there if anybody's going. And then I'm going to the UK again to do some collaborations and visit people and stuff. And then so I kind of do that. I'm trying to do that every year. It's like becoming a thing. And yeah, anyway, that's big stuff. Production value up to the moon. Thanks, Alex. So Markicorn asks, with a lot of big names missing in action for the LVO this year, I'm not surprised actually. Like I love the LVO, but they have to they are lagging in their game, I believe, in my opinion. Like they are like other events are doing it better. They were the only event for the longest time, but now there's competition. They got to step up their game. What's your top 3 who to watch, and who's your dark horse faction to win it all? Oh my goodness. Well, the top 3 who to watch, I don't even know who's going to LVO. Ask me that question. I guess it is like this week. I don't even know who's going to be there because I'm not going to be there. So I'm like, I'll probably end up watching it, like the stream, and that's it. So I don't know who my top 3 would be. However, who's my dark horse faction to win it all? I feel like it would be cool if Orcs win it all. Yeah. Because Orcs, like, I don't think there has been an Orc winner of LVO. It'd be cool if this was their year. Either that or Sisters of Battle. And I don't think Sisters is a dark horse, but Orcs would definitely, like, shake things up. And I certainly hope it's not Chaos, because that's like, blech, Chaos. You know, that's not fun. And certainly not World Eaters. He says to Mark of Corn. But thank you for your question. Harborn asks, you've played a couple of games of Old World with books in hand. Yes, thank you Games Workshop for sending me the books so I could practice and try them out. Does the lack of step up in the game make a significant, I'm assuming that's a significant difference. It is a big difference from 8th edition. Like, so when models get killed, they don't get to fight back, right? So, essentially. So, like, you can go in, clear, like, the folks in a rank, and then they don't get to fight you back. So it does mean that, like, charging and having high initiative and stuff makes a big difference. So in terms of taking damage, it does make a difference. It does mean that like your champions are very valuable, but then again, a lot of champions have access. Hey, Sindri, have access to like magic gear, right? So like magic gear on characters on like little champions could keep them alive longer, makes them do more damage, or like more damage than like their guys next to them would do. In a lot of cases, you just have to spend a few points for that. But it doesn't make as much of an impact as you think. And the main reason of that is the new break system, like how you do more, like bravery and panic and morale. Because before, in like 8th, 7th, and 8th edition, you could have an elite unit come in, kill the fighting rank, dead. They wouldn't get full bat. They'd win combat. The opposing unit would flee, panic, flee. You'd catch them. You'd kill everybody. And that was how combats worked. Now that is different. First and foremost, initiative across the board is lower. There's ways to buff your initiative with, charging, for example, or spells. So like a skeleton is initiative 1 or 2, with a Tomb King can be initiative plus D3, and then plus a charge could be up to plus 3 or plus 4 on a flank. So you can have like a Tomb Guard with 5, 8, 9 initiative on a flank, which is crazy when you think about it. 9 initiative on a flank, which means they'll be fighting first, whereas before they didn't really. And so they can like swing, even against elves. Like you can have skeletons fighting before elves. But then, even if you hit something hard and kill a fighting rank, failing morale doesn't necessarily mean you're going to run. It just means you get pushed back a lot of the time. Like you don't automatically break and flee. The only time you break and like panic and flee is if your natural dice roll is over your leadership, or you fail with modifiers, but then the enemy you're fighting is twice as much unit strength as you. So if you're fighting overwhelming odds, 2-1, right, and your guys fail, they're going to panic, and they're going to flee, and they might get run down. But more often than not, if you lose combat, you're just going to give ground, which is a 2-inch move back, or you're going to fall back in good order, which is like fall back and reform to sort of like readjust the line, and your opponent can then pursue, which counts as a charge. Or if you just fall back in good order, it's you move up, but that doesn't count as a charge. So if they have low initiative and you have like higher initiative, then the second fight doesn't count as a charge. If it's a chariot moving in again, they don't charge again. And if they don't follow up into you, you can charge them, for example, and get +2 to your initiative. And so it's the combat in and of itself is a lot more dynamic, and that's why I don't think the lack of step up makes that much of a difference. Like it does, but it's not as polarizing as it used to be, right? It also makes things like spears a lot more useful because you can fight in multiple ranks and etc. etc. Just something to keep in mind. Hey, Foz, what's going up? I did answer your question, Foz. It's the first question I answered. But thank you, Harborn, for that question. Oya asks, how was your holiday? My holiday was great. Thank you very much. Did you miss work? Yes. I would say I'm a workaholic, very close to. I don't know what to do with free time. So me, after like 2 days of doing nothing, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with myself. And then I watched a couple of shows and television, and I enjoyed it. It was fun, but it takes me a while to appreciate time off. I'm not good at it. Any highlights from your time off? Well, the work times from my time off. I ended up going to film the Old World Battle Report with Eric from Eric's Hobby Workshop, which was great fun, but that was 2 days of filming, and that was technically work. But I had a lot of fun then. Other than that, I think one of my favorite times was hanging out on the Patron Discord, and we played Gladius with everybody, and that was just way fun. We just played like we're just all enjoying that game so much. It's very, very fun. But yeah, those are my highlights. But thank you for your question. Oh yeah, really appreciate it. Or hola. Sean Army. Sean says, "Hey Scrubby. Well, well, well. Who's the one with the sass today? Scrubby. Heading to a tournament in a few weeks. Nice. I'm playing an army that's counter to my natural playstyle. Multiple small units. Well, welcome to my playstyle. It has all gas and no brakes. High firepower and low model count. So your natural playstyle is MSU, which is my playstyle. And now you're going for all gas, no brakes, so like high pressure. Cool. Any suggestions on how to make this type of shift or tips on how to pilot? Gracias. You kicked my friend's butt on TTS. Was great to watch. He destroys all of us regularly. Yeah, that's true. Actually, that was a really fun time. Thank you, Tanya. I guess that was one of your favorite things to watch. Was when I beat up on your friend. Thousands. It was actually it was like just a key point in the game where just shit hit the fan. That was it. And like my Dark Eldar. Then you just really saw what Dark Eldar can do when he was just like picking models up, and that was that. Let's see. So all gas, no brakes. A biggest thing that I can say, Sean, is make sure you plan your waves of attack. So even though you have all gas, no brakes, don't commit everything in one go. You have to put pressure in multiple waves. Wave 1, Wave 2, Wave 3. And you have to try and score all your points on the front end of the game, because if you're throwing everything at your opponent, you need to try and get enough of a score increase or a score like lead that even though they've killed you by the end of the game, they can't catch up. That's a great way of looking at it with that style of army. This is something to keep in mind as well. Phil, is all as good Archons do, says Phil. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, hopefully that helps you, Sean. Meadows asks, do you think there's any chance of the Eldari units we can take, Harlequins and Narathi as Corsairs, getting buffed? Well, I don't really see Harlequins or Corsairs being taken at all, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do give them some love to see if people take them more. I know Eldari are powerful and need nerfs and not buffs. Yeah. But it's the thing about Eldar, on a tangent, is yes, they're very powerful and need nerfs, not buffs, but it's such a fine line right now. They've gone through like 3, 4 rounds of nerfs for Eldar. And it's still incredibly powerful, which is like, even then you're like, how in the world did it make it to print? You know? But it's this far from being like unplayable. Like they're like so close to buffing them out of the game. I mean, nerfing them out of the game. And that's the key. It's like such a fine line. It's like you wish like they'd like be like, you wish that they could do it smartly, but sometimes they just like yank the rug and they pull the rug and they're like, "Ha, why are you on the ground? You're supposed to be standing." But aside from the Death Jester and nerfs needed to Fate's Messenger, right? None of the other units are really played outside of an occasional troop in Entourage for a reign. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think, if so, was it 5 Corsairs in the book are 70 points or 60 points? I think it's 70 points, or something like that. And like 5 racks are 60, so like why not take racks instead of Corsairs, like in a Dark Eldar build? And Rangers are like 55 points. Like Rangers are just 10 times better if you need support units. So why not just take Rangers all the time? We'll see. Hopefully they get some love. But they're a kill team set. So like they might not be like super like pushing them because people buy them for kill team anyway. So they might not see it as an issue, or like it might not register on their statistics measurements, that sort of thing. But it is interesting. I'm curious to see. I'm very curious. Like, that balance update is supposed to be coming soon, sometime. Hopefully soon. I would love to see it. We've got a team event in Montreal, and I want it to be out before then. I have no idea, completely blind, but all I can hope for is Dark Eldar get good stuff, because Dark Eldar are not good, apparently. So, yes, please give us buffs, more buffs. Yes, we could use them, really use them. Phil says, there's also the competitive Eldar and the casual Eldar players. Competitive players will adapt, casuals will feel the effects more. But yeah, absolutely. At the same time, though, Phil, a lot of casuals don't even use like FAQs, or they don't even know what, like, there's so many people out there that play the game that don't know the FAQs, or that there's like PDF downloads that you can like update, or the Leviathan tournament mission pack. Like, we on the internet know what those mean, but a lot of folks don't give a fudge. They just they literally buy their codex and just play their codex. And that's it. And they might hear that, here and there in a podcast or something that there's changes or whatnot. But like, I'm pretty sure a large variety of people that play casually just play their book, and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, that is a demographic part of the population that, imagine there's people out there playing with unnerfed fate dice. But that kind of person is also not necessarily someone who abuses that mechanic, if that makes sense, or has 9 D cannons or whatever the heck you could do before the codex, got released or that stuff. So it's like, they play the game fluffy and they play it out of their book, so they don't need people to put them in check, right? Like, they don't need an FAQ to be like, that's too powerful. Like, it's too powerful for match play. Absolutely, because match play gets wacky. But then you do Crusade and there's all these weird, wacky stuff like this guy ignores all invulnerable saves or whatever it was back in the day with like Crusade stuff. It can get really wacky, right? Even more than whatever you could write in a book. Foz says, it's because Games Workshop loves elves. Yes. In the early 9th, it was Drukhari, Harlequins, now Croftwolves. They do have a soft spot for elves, and I'm okay with that. Although usually it's Eldar that's just powerful more often than not. Yeah. Funk Wheel says, think Incarn is going to get touched, or is the Avatar Arcane more the problem? The Incarn is more likely to get touched than the Avatar Arcane, for sure. Tanya, one of my best performing rules videos is just telling people that the commentary exists. Yep, I'm not surprised. Like, when I went to England a couple of years ago and I played my friend Troy, like, he was a very big competitive player, 25 years ago when he taught me how to play the game. But we went to the game store and we hung out and we played a game and we just played we just played the game, and that was it. And it wasn't like we played a Maelstrom of War, like we had the cards and stuff, and we just played. And he didn't really care that there was an FAQ or like that this changed or that changed, and he didn't really understand why like Games Workshop would like cater so much to competitive players and tournament players. He's like, what's the point? Like, I just want to play with my friends. I don't give a crap to this balance. Like, nobody cares. And so that really gave me a perspective. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, there's a whole group of people that just play in their garage. They never go to a tournament. They hang out once a week. They just roll dice with their friends, and they don't give a flying fudge how many faith dice or miracle dice or fate dice you can use in a turn, because their codex says something, and that's it. People don't know. I'm here to help. Yeah, exactly. But thank you for that question, Meadows. We went on a tangent there. That was good. Okay. Bo says, hey, happy Monday. Happy Monday to you, Bo. How much and what kind of pokering is involved in top-level games? Pokering? Like poker facing? Like bluffing? Is that what you're trying to say? In top-level games, if you mean gotchas, it is very discouraged. Like, you want to try and beat your opponent through skill, not through, aha, you forgot this trap card of mine, that sort of thing. But I'm guessing bluffing. Yeah, that's what I thought, like bluffing as well. Like, the psychological aspect of gameplay is something that is in use. Like, as a competitive game, yes, you can definitely kind of like tackle the psychology of the game itself. Now, at its most basic level, it's finding out or reading on your opponent, like, bluffing, okay. Reading on your opponent, what their most favorite unit is, and making sure you kill that one first. Like, if you want to demoralize them and just sort of like make them not really want to play the game anymore, so that it's just then it's easier for you to win. So, like, on the very most basic level, it's like, hey, Timmy, what's your favorite unit, Timmy? And then Timmy goes, I like this Land Raider. And you're like, excellent. Good thing I brought all my haywire, Timmy. And then you kill Timmy's Land Raider, and then Timmy's like, my Land Raider died. And then he doesn't want to play anymore. And you're like, good, I win. Move on. Now, of course, if we're playing at like a competitive level, like at a top level, that doesn't work, right? Because we don't care about like our miniatures. Everything's gonna die, and it's there for a purpose. Not there's no like emotional connection to like your warlord, Whereas if you're playing like a narrative game, you might like care about your warlord and what he does, but like in the game, it's like, is its death gonna give me points? Whatever, right? It's a completely different mentality. However, if you made Nikki, poor Timmy. I know, poor Timmy. If you made like in terms of like bluffing and pokering though, I think it's very important to not like projecting what you're going to do is very hard not to do because pre-measuring and stuff is like massively important. Pre-measuring line of sight, you know what I mean? So if you're measuring like line of sight, your opponent can, if they've got a brain between their ears, they could be like, oh, okay, you're looking line of sight, or you're pre-measuring something, and they'll be like, why are you pre-measuring that? And you'll be like, well, I'm measuring for these guys to go here to shoot there or whatever, right? So there's like that sort of bluffing, like either you're really good at, you don't pre-measure anything till you need to, right? So that's something you can do. In terms of bluffing, I used to do this all the time, but it would be during deployment more than anything. Like I would go, like if I wanted to put my Ravager somewhere, right, or my Scourge somewhere, I'm measuring line of sight and stuff from a completely different part of the table to make my opponent think I'm going to deploy my Ravager or my Scourge on that side of the table, but then because that's where I'm measuring in line of sight, but really I want to put them on this side of the table. So like my opponent is like I'm telegraphing that I'm going to do that, but I'm not really. I'm bluffing, right? And so that's something that I do as well. So it does exist. It is definitely something that exists. Another thing is, if you see a mistake and you make a mistake, right? Some people go, ah, man, I made a mistake, this, that. And most of the time, if you made one, you just have to be quiet and hope your opponent doesn't notice. Just don't say anything, right? Like that composure is massively important. So yes, it does. It is a part of the game, but it shouldn't get in the way of the social interaction and the social contract. So me playing that poker does not mean be an asshole. That's not what it means. It means like be aware of your facial expressions, of your body language, of like how you're composing yourself in the game, and maybe don't give up the information that you don't want to give up, but don't gotcha your opponent, right? Like that, if they're saying, I want to move here so that you can't shoot me, and you have a way that you could move there to shoot them, you should tell them, just so you know, I can move and then advance and shoot. So really, you have to draw line of sight from 6 inches further away here, because then I can see you. And they'll be like, oh, okay. Because my intent is to not get shot. So I'm glad you told me that there was a way you could get an angle, because that's my intent. Like, I'm trying not to get shot. Like, I know what I'm trying to do. Anyway, so that's sort of like the balance in there as well. Tanya says, I'm Timmy. I'm a Timmy. You know who else is a Timmy? Luca. Mini Wargaming Luca. Every time you kill his like big hilly warlord guy and the big unit that he's with, he like deflates and he's like, I don't want to play this game anymore. But he usually just runs it right down the middle. And you're like, it's the only thing I can kill Luca. He's like, and then he fails some saves. He's like, I don't want to play this game anymore. It's just funny. Phil says, gotcha moments are not fun. Correct. Our local friendly game store tournaments have a Player's Choice Award equal to first place. Sportsmanship should be just as important as playing for a win. I agree. I think sportsmanship is very important. Tanya says, Foz, me too. Foz says, don't kill my pretty models, says Foz. Yep, and that's something, like, a lot of people put a lot of effort and time into their models. It is just a thing. You get that connection with them, right? Richard Williams. Hey, first time watching. Hi. Looking to add mandrakes to my army but don't want 3D prints. What's the best GW proxy? couple of different, like some Sylvaneth models, I think, work well with some of the Ideneth Deepkin models. Mix them together. Yeah. Been loving your channel. Learned loads how to play with my Dark Elves. Nice. I'm glad you're here, Richard. Thanks for hanging out. Tanya, love this big, points expensive model. So cool. I invested all my points in it. Yeah, that's usually how that works. I would wait based on the LVO rumors. New models might be coming. Yeah, that's also a rumor that's been going around. Good examples, no problems. Absolutely. Thanks for the question, Bo. Great. And last question from Chetos. First of all, happy birthday. Thank you. I'm curious about what your expectations are for the upcoming data slate. So it's a great way to finish up. So I feel like Eldar will get hit, Khorne will get hit. I think things like Votann will get slightly hit, but I don't think it'll really change them too much. I would expect Tau, Death Guard, World Eaters to like be untouched, Guard to be untouched. Pretty much like a lot of stuff to be untouched. And then at the bottom, I could see them tweaking the Custodes rules, the Imperial Knight, or just towering rules in general, to maybe bring them back a little bit into the fold, or like make them more relevant. And then, of course, Dark Eldar. I think everybody's kind of holding their breath about the Dark Eldar changes, and I hope that they give us a detachment that does something. That's my hope. Okay. Other than that, that's it. That's all we got for the day. Thanks all for hanging out with me today on the Monday show. Of course, this is a show I do for patrons. So if you'd like to support me on Patreon, the link is down below on the description. Huge shout out to all of you. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. And of course, on Friday, we'll be doing List Crunch, which is another patron show for Scourge, Trueborn, and Incubi patrons. Post a list, I read it, I give you my thoughts, and we break it down every single Thursday or Friday, usually Thursday. Yeah, because then Fridays are usually traveling for events. If you have any questions, I'll see you on the Discord, and you're all amazing. Thanks a lot, everybody. The Dark Kin.